Okay, so this is my game idea, and it's also my game pitch. So to any video game company out there that's established and would like to take on my game idea, um, the way I envision it is that the ultimate, what's going to result from the set of games I've just offered is you're going to have a very developed AI system and program. Um, Watching the E3 coverage this year, that's was the real apparent, effect is that they're really the technology and the programming is getting to the point where you can really program in AI. So you can create sort of personalities and characters or in NPCs, non-playable characters. And I think that for my game idea, what it's going to end up happening is because two things would be happening. You're developing a certain style of technology of programming in the game, and you're also going to create players who can understand how they're going to interact with this NPC, and this AI, and create a sort of realistic experience in a way, or a unique experience. Um, this is why any video game company out there, regardless of location, like so if a Japanese company, especially, hey guys, I would love, if you're interested, I would love to sell this idea, and I'd love to be a part of it. So there's also my offer for like, could you hire me, in this aspect. Um, the story, or not the story, I mean, in the first game, faction, what you are establishing is how the player can interact with the NPC and sort of give the NPC instructions to do a certain action. I was telling my friend that if you do the same thing 3 times in a row in the exact same way, the program, the game will pick that up and respond and tell you this looks like a repetition. This looks like a what's the term I have for it too? A routine? Yeah, this looks like a routine. Do you want the computer, do you want the game to recognize that as a routine and program it into an NPC? And you click yes. And so the routine, is therefore becomes an option for the player to use. He can now approach an NPC and say, "Hey, NPC, I want you to do this," and you hand the NPC a routine to do, and the NPC would like say yes or no to it, and you'd actually have to negotiate with it to have an effect. And so part of that negotiation is that the NPC is going to have a certain set of qualities. It's going to live in a location. It's going to have its own affiliations and loyalties. It's going to have an economic sense as well. It's gonna be, so this, I'm really asking for a real high-end game here. But you're going to create that effect, that the player is going to be interacting with somebody, and there should be a somewhat realistic quality to it, a human-like quality that the NPC, the AI, will actually respond to you, and will do things outside of your control. This is stuff that you see, but that's kind of like it's programmed rote, in. I'm thinking that the technology and the programming is to the point now where you can establish this and a sort of human reaction to it. So hopefully this is a set of ideas and pushing the evolution of things that will it'll inspire people in a way that this is how we can interact with technology, and we as a society can progress. So real highfalutin idea, I know, but the the basic thing right now is with a video game company like to take on my idea. This is why I'm making these videos and posting them online. And I'm hoping to draw in the audience because it'd really be cool if this could be done. So you create this sort of AI in the first game, faction. Now the next game, a strategy simulation game with no user interface. That's like this. Because I had no idea what to call it, but or I call it the odds. You just have an environment where you have the NPCs that react a certain way, but now you're in an environment where the NPCs are only loyal to you, or they only are loyal to your faction. So there's no other, other than the other NPCs, and you have a sandbox-like environment. And in that sandbox environment, you can now tell your NPCs, okay, I want to erect structures. So it's a sort of, you know, a Sim City type simulator, but from ground level, and so that's possible. We have these micromanagement games, but since you've programmed in this idea of routine, now the program is going to get to the point like, okay, well, this is routine, and you know, with no background. So you're going to see, okay, can the AI do a certain thing? Can the AI now interpret the instructions from the player and also have its own set of internal instructions that it's going to follow, like the desire for shelter, food, security, and wealth, kind of things, which we understand in people. So you're creating an AI, and now you're creating this idea that, well, now you're going to see, can the AI exist on its own, kind of thing, because the player is now allowed to only interact as much as he or she wants in this developing community. And there's the warfare element to the story. So now you have that aspect. Does a player, can he go out and so either interact with the Native Americans or not, or in the open world sense, can he interact with these two alien races, which you'll come across, who have this bloody war and battle. That's a story for that no user interface game. But the other thing is that you remove the menu. That was the key thing, in my opinion, was that you can have dialogue selections, but otherwise you remove the menu altogether. There's no user interface. You just have the screen and the world. And you can, like, if you're in a fight and you're actually getting injured, then you have like a sort of closing off kind of thing. But anyways, and then you can have a map to kind of use to help you figure things out, if that's But otherwise, all that's on the screen is what the player wants on the screen. The player can therefore just like fully immerse themselves in this environment and feel like I'm in a community. I think people would like these games too, because look at Second Life. What is Second Life? It's people existing in a virtual community. Okay, well, kind of provide that for them. The other aspect is that these games I'm suggesting they are basically to train the player, and also to kind of develop a certain audience that's going to eventually pick up this MMO game. So I'm offering really like 3 games right off the bat. Small to bigger, and then follow that up with an MMO, which will have like 4 versions. Yeah, about 4 versions, because the single player game is Sword for Hire. So because you had this again, the Sword for Hire, and then you have the MMO Sword for Hire. That'll have the 4 iterations, because you got Sword for Hire, Gun for Hire, Laser for Hire, and Magic for Hire. Which I've explained. So I hope, like, if anybody digs these games, or these ideas for games, please respond, and say what's up. And if you know a video game company, hey, I think if anything, if this game and all these games I'm proposing will be a real challenge to programmers and video game makers, because I'm presenting an idea of a product that is very engaging of the player. Because I'm watching these MMOs, or I'm playing these MMOs, and it's just it's not really engaging me too much. So and that's what I want, MMO that can engage me. Well, how do you get to that place? How do you create an MMO that people can play with and interact with and just mess around on, and actually feel like they have an effect? So when you look at games like Grand Theft Auto series, Mass Effect, and these other games, and how people really like the game. Oh, and Call for Duty 4. Why do people really like these games? Because it feels like reality. It feels like there's a real thing going on. Okay, but what else? It's like, well, it's the sense of reality, the sense that you really are a person existing right in this state of reality. It's an immersion into a body that's not your own. Let's face it, people like that. People actually kind of dig that, because what are movies? It's a way to escape. So that's kind of the purpose of the whole game, or even an MMO, is escape. Now, create an imaginary community that you can run around in, and that you do have an effect on. Okay, cool. But the thing is, you have to people it. So, and you can't have it straight just people.